Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are breaking down the absolute blueprint for one of the most critical stages of human life. We're looking at CHD 209, infant and toddler education programs. Whether you're a seasoned educator looking for a quick refresher, or maybe you're stepping into a professional caregiving role for the very first time, think of this explainer as your vital roadmap. We're going to cover the core concepts of early child development, but honestly, we're also going to focus heavily on exactly how you can successfully navigate and crush this online course. Our goal, we want you leaving here fully equipped to master the material and absolutely ace the class.
So the focus of this entire journey is that incredibly high-stakes window from birth to 35 months. We are literally talking about shaping the very first years of a child's life. The whole objective of this course is to equip you to plan environments and programs that support this explosive period of growth: social, emotional, physical, intellectual, the whole shebang. But hey, to make a massive impact on a child's life, you first have to set yourself up for success in this online environment, right? So you're going to want to start your journey by accessing your course calendar. You can find that hanging out right in the Start Here module under Course Documents and Resources. Your very first mission, the syllabus quiz. Now, heads up on this. The quiz is proctored using HonorLock, so make absolutely sure you read and follow the directions on the quiz page precisely to get off to a really strong start.
All right, let's dive into our Caregivers Toolkit agenda. First up, Module A on core development. Then we'll move into family and culture in Module B, and we'll wrap the whole thing up with safe environments in Module C. So moving right into Module A, core development, understanding the internal. This is where we build our internal understanding of infants and toddlers. In this section, you'll be studying the heavy hitters of child development. I'm talking Erikson, Piaget, and Maslow, right alongside some of the most current, cutting-edge brain development research out there. And here's the thing about the course mechanics. You will be dissecting these concepts deeply in your weekly discussion board posts. Remember, all online courses require these, and guys, they make up a massive 25% of your overall average. 25%, so it's absolutely vital that you complete them. And to get full credit, you've got to provide your initial post, plus a thoughtful response to a classmate. That's really how we blend those established theories with modern neuroscience and build a genuinely interactive learning community. Now, one of the greatest debates, and really realities, in early childhood is this constant interplay between genetics and environment. Think about it. What does the child inherit biologically versus what is provided by their surroundings? Your role as a caregiver is to completely optimize that environment. You want to provide the rich, nurturing external stimuli that interact positively with the child's unique genetic makeup. It's like a giant puzzle, and you're helping put the pieces together. We actually break development down into 4 main domains: physical, social, emotional, and cognitive. You're going to practice using developmental profiles to chart an infant's progress across these specific areas in your weekly assignments. But listen, just as tracking a child requires precision, so does managing your coursework. So let's talk deadlines. All assignments are due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. of the week they're assigned. If you happen to be late, well, you do get a 7-day grace period, but there's a catch. 10 points are deducted from your grade for every single day it's late. If you hit day 8 with no submission, that 0 remains locked in the gradebook. Definitely do not risk it. Which brings us to a really vital question. How do we bridge the gap between the child care center and the home? Because, honestly, understanding the internal development of the child is really only half the battle. If we only focus on the child in isolation, we completely miss the bigger picture. We have to connect seamlessly with their world outside our doors. And that perfectly introduces our next tool in the kit, Module B, Family and Culture, the external connections. Here, the focus shifts to those external connections. We're looking at how much we value the dynamic interaction between the family, the child's cultural background, and you, the provider. Because you aren't just teaching a child, you're partnering with a family. We've got some vital strategies here for supporting them, from establishing incredibly effective communication to practically helping both the kiddo and the parents cope with separation anxiety. Developmentally appropriate practices extend way beyond playtime. They apply to how we handle those tough emotional drop-offs too. You'll also learn to navigate and respect various cultures and act as a hub for community resources. Speaking of resources, and this is a pro tip for the course, to stay connected with your own campus community, always read your weekly course announcements. Oh, and another huge suggestion for successful completion, make sure you're accessing all your materials through the modules page, not the gradebook. Each weekly module contains the specific info you need to actually crush the assignments for that week. Now, what's really fascinating in this module is the focus on temperament. Temperament is basically the unique behavioral style and emotional response pattern of an individual infant or toddler. So why does this matter? Well, understanding that one child is naturally super cautious while another gets easily overstimulated is absolutely crucial for tailoring your daily routines. It's also vital for sharing accurate, nuanced information with other caregivers. Once you understand a child's temperament, you stop fighting their nature and you start working directly with it. It's a total game changer.
But to manage all this information effectively, you've got to have a system. Here is the procedural flow for record keeping in a childcare setting. Step 1 is the routine recording of daily behaviors. Step 2, you're actively collecting info across all those developmental domains we talked about a minute ago. Step 3 is managing state-required records to keep the program perfectly compliant. And Step 4, which honestly wraps around everything else, is maintaining strict confidentiality. These aren't just your standard administrative chores. They are critical, foundational elements of professional program management. All right, let's transition to Module C, Safe Environments, the ultimate protection.
This module represents your most serious responsibility as a caregiver. Look, before a child can learn, before they can socialize, they absolutely must be safe and healthy. You'll be studying the absolute gold standards for health and safety, looking at strict guidelines from the Department of Human Resources, NAEYC, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. I really cannot emphasize enough that these are non-negotiable safety benchmarks. For example, understanding and strictly implementing the AAP's back-to-sleep guidelines for SIDS prevention isn't just a best practice, it is literally life-saving. Next, we have the daily protocols for infection control and universal precautions. We're talking frequent hand washing, strict diapering procedures, safely handling body fluids, and rigorous daily cleaning routines. I encourage you to frame these not just as repetitive daily chores, but really as your frontline defense against illness. In an infant and toddler environment, impeccable hygiene is exactly how you protect the very vulnerable immune systems in your care.
Observation is another incredibly powerful proactive tool here. You're going to learn how to conduct a daily health check on the children, plus a daily environmental check to spot hazards in your space before they become an issue. You'll be trained to recognize the early signs and symptoms of common childhood diseases. And, crucially, this module covers the absolute necessity of emergency readiness, specifically CPR and first aid that is specifically tailored for infants and toddlers.
We also have to address a difficult but incredibly vital topic. You will be trained on identifying the emotional, physical, and sexual signs of suspected child abuse and neglect. Listen, as a caregiver, you are a mandated reporter. You're going to learn the exact legal requirements and the specific DHR reporting procedures. You really must carry this knowledge with clear authority, knowing that you are the protective voice for a child who just cannot speak up for themselves. Let's see how this all builds into our final concept. We are comparing a developmentally appropriate curriculum on one side with the child's developmental skills and abilities on the other. Your job? To make sure these two sides align perfectly. Whether you're setting up a home environment, a massive childcare center, or community space, you've got to match the specific materials, toys, and curriculum directly to the child's exact developmental stage. Think about it. If the material is too advanced, they get super frustrated. If it's too simple, they get bored out of their minds. The magic happens right there in the middle. Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder today. Are you ready to synthesize all these tools and transform the critical first 35 months of a child's life? You've got the roadmap now. Dive into that Start Here module, respect those Sunday 11:59 p.m. deadlines, engage robustly in your discussion boards, and take this knowledge to build environments where infants and toddlers don't just survive, but truly thrive. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.